Okay, the next video is going to entail replacing the alternator adapter gear, or some people call the Cush drive. That's the Russian gear, and that is the German Herzog gear that we're going to be putting on it. This is a pretty simple step. I already pulled the cotter pin out of there. There's a cotter pin that goes in that castellated nut. And then you have to figure out a way to hold down this side while you break this nut. I use a 1/2 inch ratchet. It's got the cheater bar on it, if I can get it all in the picture there. And Billy G uses a 4-wheel drive hub tool to do it. I don't have a 4-wheel drive hub tool. I've done a number of these doing the Krytox upgrade. What I do is I take my channel locks and I lock them in the vise like that, and then I just set the Cush drive on top and get it in a position where the jaws are holding it down, and then I hold it with one hand and I break it with the other hand. And so I'm going to attempt to do that and see how it works. If you have not Krytoxed your alternator adapter bearings, this would be an excellent time to do that if you were doing the upgrade. So the next step is to pull the Russian gear off. I got a 3-legged gear puller. I have an AutoZone within 1/2 mile of my house, so I just go down there, I pay the $20, use the puller, and when I go back, they give me my $20 back. The pullers from Harbor Freight really don't work. They're when I get done here, I'll show you the legs on this. The legs are too thick, or the feet on the Harbor Freight ones are too thick to really work for this application, and the same with the gear on the crankshaft. I don't know if you really can see what's going on here, but pulling it off, it's almost off. And it's off. That's the Russian gear. If you can see it, it's off. It's off the drive. There's a little key chuck there. You got to make sure it stays in there. And then next we'll be putting the other gear on. Okay, so I have the Herzog gear started on the shaft, and I'm going to press it on using my vise. So I have I believe that's a 7/8 socket going onto the gear, and then the shaft will go inside the socket, and then I have another socket on the back side kind of holding the Cush drive there, and all I'll do is crank down on my vise until that gear gets seated in there, and it'll press it on nicely. Okay, so I pressed the gear on there. All that's left is to put the nut back on and the cotter key. And again, I'll be putting my my channel locks back in the vice grips, setting that on top, tightening down the nut, and putting the cotter key on. Okay, I'm just going to be tightening up this nut and putting the cotter pin back in. pretty snug, and let's see if it's, and of course it lines right up. Now let's see if I can make it through the next castle. Get it there. Almost there. So I got the gear on, I got the castellated nut lined up, and I have the cotter pin installed. I'm not going to put the push drive back on the alternator because we're going to have to set the gear lash between the alternator adapter and the gear on the end of the camshaft, and it's much easier done just using the push drive and not having the alternator connected to it. But I'll show that step when it comes to it.